As we move on, let's move on to the Pacers and the Kings. A couple of years ago, these two teams were involved in a blockbuster trade that sent Domantas Sabonis to the Sacramento Kings and High Cheeks Halliburton to the Indiana Pacers. So, listening to this, looking at these trades and looking at these two teams now, the Pacers 7-10, the Kings 8-9. A lot of expectations going into the season. How do you think these teams are doing? And because they're struggling to living up to the expectations, do you think it's fixable, or do you think this is who these teams are? We'll start with you, Jed.
With the performances that Fox has been having, I'm a little bit concerned that they are sitting where they are. As we talked about before the podcast, Keegan Murray's struggling. That's one player that I was quite high on coming into the season with his shooting ability, just being able to take a little bit of a step up as a playmaker as well. I would have thought they'd be in with a shot this year to at least contend for a conference finals appearance. But now that they've just dipped below 500, I think
What? In contention for what? In contention for what?
Hey, we spoke about this in the preseason. I said I wouldn't have been surprised if the Kings, as constructed post DeRozan, if things went right, contended for the conference finals. They have that much talent. And look at Fox. He could score 60 points, then back it up the next day with 49. If you got to that,
Yeah, and they lost. They lost that game.
Yeah, that's why I'm concerned.
That's why I told you. I told you. The Sacramento Kings, this team, they're not. People thought getting DeMar DeRozan is a championship winning move or gets you closer to a championship. No, it doesn't. What team has DeMar DeRozan made better? He was with the Bulls. As I said before the season, he was with the Bulls playing. The Spurs, nothing. The Raptors replaced him with Kawhi. They went to the finals and won a championship. The more I say it, the more I don't like it. You said something along those lines, and that's what I always say with DeMar DeRozan. Everywhere he goes, it's supposedly he's going to make this team better. They are going to become a... Before the season, I was like, bro, this guy's not going to do anything for the Kings. If anything, he's going to make them worse. I had them missing the playoffs and the play-in as a whole. Right now, they're not in that position. Right now, they're in the position to miss the play-in, as I predicted. And I think when Malik Monk comes back, things may improve a little bit, but as it relates to Keegan Murray, oh yeah, he's finished. As long as DeMar DeRozan's there for sure.
I think the problems with this team, much like the Cavs, the problems of this team can be fixed, and with the right recipe, the right guidance, the right coaching, they could be a team that reaches their potential. This team has high level potential. Like you got Sabonis is someone who can really set the game on a platter for other players, can get players involved. He's a great passer and has a great ability to score inside. Then you've got your scorers outside, you've got your shooters. This team has a lot of assets that they can use. But the thing is, they play against good teams. They play really, really well. They play against shit teams, and they just don't get the job done often enough to actually contribute to their win total enough to make the season easier for them. It's like last year. I swear at one point they had a win record of like 60, 70% against the top teams in the West, but they had a losing record against the worst teams across both the East and the West. So I think this team is a team that should be patient, and they should be really in the offseason searching for answers that might come at the expense of their coach. And this team has potential. It's hard to see it fail this badly over and over.
On that, Jed, the Kings have to play 16 games against the Suns, Lakers, Clippers, and the Warriors. That's okay. The way they look currently, those 16 games, the Kings are going to win maybe 3. So that's 3 and 3. So then they have to win those other games.
No, they'll win like 6.
Right.
They'll win like 6.
Right. Okay, firstly, they're not going to beat. Okay, they beat the Suns. I think they're 1-1 against the Suns. They'll probably go 1-3 against the Lakers. They'll probably go 2-2 against the Suns. They go 0-4 against the Clippers, and they'll probably go 2-2 against the Warriors.
Yeah,
that's still not great. And so, as you say about them, are those the shit teams that they're not beating? What is that coming down to? Because Keegan Murray has been a shadow of himself. DeMar DeRozan is Hall of Famer, but useless. You don't think? Oh, P, you've spiked up. You don't think DeMar DeRozan is going to be Hall of Famer?
For what? For what? Was this the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Justice? Or very good?
His career with like 30,000 points.
Is it the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Very Good? Because what's he actually done? Like, come on, guys. What's he done? What's he
Well,
actually done?
okay. In saying that, though, there's so many players out there that are going to be Hall of Fame or are in Hall of Fame. That, like, what have they done? Like, do
Brother,
you think does Chris Paul deserve to be in the Hall of Fame over DeMar DeRozan?
come on, bro.
Yes.
You remember we had that debate when we talked about who was better, and
Yeah,
you said,
I
yeah,
agree. I think Chris
Paul
Paul.
has,
I think Chris Paul's top 5 point
yeah,
guard of all time. But DeMar
yeah, Chris
DeRozan's
Paul,
got to
Hall
be
of
in the
Famer, easy.
conversation
He's
for Hall
defensive
of
teams,
Fame.
All NBA, everything. But
Yeah.
DeMar, the more I see him, the more I don't like it. We see
Okay.
it. Look
Anyway,
at
we
him.
won't get into that. But De'Aaron Fox as well, though, like is absolutely and utterly balling for that team, and no one else is going with him. Like Sabonis has also been kind of a shadow of himself. Like I just don't like. Is it De'Aaron Fox? Is he the issue? Is he taking too much control of the team? Is the team not being able to fly around him? Is that what the problem is? Is that what the issue is with that team? I don't know. We're not there. We don't know. But it kind of like he's by far the best player, but every time he seems to score the points and do all the work, they lose. As like we saw that with Washington with Bradley Beal. He was the best player every time he got the buckets, got the points,
Yeah, no,
would lose.
those no,
But we saw with Devin Booker as well. When Devin Booker was like by himself, he had a couple of players around him, but not really, and he was just balling out. They would lose because he
But
was
to
the
be
only one
fair,
doing it.
the game that he dropped 60, Sabonis wasn't there, DeRozan wasn't there. So it's understandable. He sort of had to carry, I don't want to say it because I'll have to pause. But yeah, he had to carry the burden for that team. So, I mean, that's why we had the 60 bomb and then the 49 bomb, same thing. But yeah, I mean, I think Mike Brown, his job is definitely on the line because if they finish under 500 and they do sort of perform the same way they did last season and have a similar ending, I think Mike Brown for sure, someone's head has to go. Someone's head would have to be chopped off, and I imagine that it would be Mike Brown because they traded for DeMar DeRozan. They signed DeMar DeRozan. I don't think that he would be getting moved. And Mike Brown at that point in time would have had, 3-4 years with this team. He would have had a first round exit. That's about it. But still, if someone had to go, I think it would be him because they're not moving from any of those players. And De'Aaron Fox would still have a year. So his head would be on the chopping block for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'd never bought into this team. I still don't buy into this team. If people want to use the excuse of Malik Monk is coming back, cool. But still, even when Malik Monk comes back, he doesn't move the needle for me. And I said it again. I'll keep saying it over and 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 over again. Because he's a fan of Kendrick Lamar. That's probably why I hate on DeMar DeRozan, but it is what it is. But yeah, I just don't buy into him, being the savior to the Kings and helping the Kings become some sort of contender. He's never helped a team do that ever in his career. And I don't think it's going to start now, especially when he's 34, 35 years old.
Let me ask you a question. So say that trade never went through and Sabonis is still on the Pacers. Forget about the Pacers, but Halliburton's on Sacramento, and Sacramento went out and got a young center. I don't know who. Throw someone in there, whatever. And and so they've got Fox at shooting guard. Do you reckon that would change this offense and be a better offense? Do you think Fox is more of a shooting guard and Halliburton leading it from the front as a point guard?
Nah, I think
hell
they'll be
no.
worse.
Yeah, who you'd have to have found like Sabonis is a really, really good regular season center. Really good
Bridges.
regular season. Well, that's what he is.
That's a brilliant backhanded compliment.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
Couldn't
crazy.
have said
It's
it
like,
any better, Jeff. Proud of you. Jeff.
yeah, it's weird though, because like you think, oh, the one thing that he's lacking is probably like a touch more height and a lot more defense, and then you look at Rudy Gobert, who's a really, really good regular season center. So it's really like center is a tough position to play in the NBA, and when you transcend to like a truly good postseason center, you're freakishly unstoppable.
But yeah, I mean, it's weird. Yeah, Kings and Pacers. I mean, we had this trade and both these teams struggling like this. Yeah, for me, like I'll say though, as much as I'm concerned about the Kings, I feel the Pacers. Hey, Rick Carlisle, we're gonna get these boys going. I mean, last season, you're first in pace. Come on, bro. What the hell is going on, bro? First in points per game, and now look at you. Benedict Mathurin and Pascal Siakam. For the love of God, please stop ISOing. I've had enough. I don't want to watch it anymore, man. It's sad reacts. It's sad reacts, man. Just and plus, yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, I think we said it earlier this season where teams just aren't they're not as willing to get into the up and down game with the Pacers and try play that fast pace. It's not worth it. And now when you force them to play more in the half court, This is the result where this team is not very good in the half court, and when you force them to play in the half court, they go crazy ISO ball. So, I mean, yeah, Pacers they'll probably still make the playoffs and the play-in, whatever the case may be, because the East is weak. But yeah, Kings for me, they're not touching the play-in. Said it before the season, and I'm doubling down now. They're not touching the play-in for sure.